Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I am going to be talking about the 2018 to 2020 North Node in Cancer transit, part 2 of 3. In this segment, what I'm going to talk about is the transit's possible impact on the zodiac signs Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, and Virgo, and yes, it does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Anyway, well, as far as Aries goes, the 4th house is what's going to be emphasized and highlighted with this transit. There may be a need to confront, when you're having the North Node in transit, it could often be about issues that have to be confronted. And this could be a need to confront an overly moody, temperamental, supremely sensitive to criticism and ridicule, clingy, overly needy, or vulnerable, dependent. It could be the less dominant parent or the mother in many cases. It could be somebody close to home or prominent family member. This could be also, too, when you're looking at this, the South Node is going to be in Capricorn in the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted as far as Aries goes. So this could be what one could be getting away from. It could be trying to get away from a ruthless, tyrannical authority figure, somebody that's very overly cold or undemonstrative. That could be the dominant parent, which is often the father, or an authority figure, a superior. This could be somebody too, or this could also be trying to get away from just being overly ambitious and dominated by career matters and intransigence in terms of just, just as far as pursuing greater stature in life and really, and also having, in some cases, it could be limiting or depressing career matters. Now, and with the North Node and Cancer emphasizing the 4th house and highlighting the 4th house, you could be directed toward safety and security for the end of life. It could be making some investments, what have you, making the preparations for that and having that safety and security for that latter part of life. And also the future being perhaps toward nurturing and protecting your home and family and tenaciously establishing foundations, going and it could be going back to home traditions, perhaps, and also feeling secure with who you are at the core, and going back to having the safety and security in the home, such as maybe getting a new home alarm system or getting some Wi-Fi doorbell or whatever you may need. This is what you may be directed toward right now as far as the future goes for you. Now, anyway, well, the next thing up, as far as the zodiac sign Taurus goes, the 3rd house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, again, this is about when the North Node is in transit. It could be about issues one may have to address or confront. And for Taurus, this could be about having to confront, again, overly moody, temperamental, fickle, dependent, vulnerable, needy or clingy neighbor, a sibling, a cousin. It could be someone that maybe Taurus even knows from their early education. And the future may be directed toward nurturing your communications, Taurus, giving the sympathetic ear to others through listening. If it's been such where you haven't really maybe been there, you might have been communicating with people to some degree, but not really actually being there to listen and give that strong listening to what others have to say. This could be the time where you may be more drawn toward doing that. And this could be about being directed toward, perhaps it could be like a nostalgic short journey back to familiar surroundings or environment. And it could, in some cases for Tauruses, could be a move back to your old, it could be that city or that place you called home once. Now, and looking at it as a short journey, not necessarily not to another country per se, but maybe a city in your own country that you had lived in at one point in time, and maybe now is the time you may be going back there. Now, also, given that you're talking about as far as what you're getting away from Taurus, the South Node is in Capricorn is highlighting and emphasizing your 9th house. Now, this could be trying to get away, perhaps, and extricating yourself, so to speak, from an overly negative or pessimistic or depressing or limiting philosophical outlook. And also, what you're going toward at this time, this could be about, and it could even be over being inundated with responsibilities toward in-laws or grandchildren in some cases. And it might not mean you're going to stop it completely, but you may have to take a break for that in some cases or diminish that to some degree. Now, as far as what you're going toward, as far as the future goes with the North Node in Cancer, emphasizing your third and highlighting your third house, this could be a time when you may be striving for safety and security as far as with neighbors, and it could be going back to communicating with people from your early education, and even in things that you may have assimilated during that time, and things that you may have learned that you may have forgotten about that you might be relearning and going back and just and really applying that knowledge again, perhaps at this time for your future. And anyway, well, the next thing up is, as far as Gemini goes, the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time for Gemini, this could be a time where you may be, at this time for Gemini, you may be directed toward nurturing your income, your money, possessions, and resources at this time. And it could be a time where you're talking about your future. It could be about perhaps rescuing others that may be in some kind of financial dilemma or going through some financial burdens. Now, it could be about really being directed toward being sympathetic in connection with your own resources. You may be protective of them to some degree, but it doesn't mean you wouldn't be willing to really share them with people on to some degree as well. But just be careful about maybe looking at it where you're hoarding your possessions as well, in terms of, and maybe you don't want to be overprotective of them at this time as far as your possessions and resources go. But this could be also about focusing on dealing with issues with criticism and ridicule that you may be somewhat sensitive to, that might be impacting your self-esteem and self-worth to some degree. And remember that with the South Node being in Capricorn, your 8th house is what's going to be emphasized and highlighted as far as that goes. So you may be attempting to get away and extricating yourself from very limited, negative, and really restricting shared resources situations that might be causing you to feel somewhat melancholy, despondent, and dejected. And it could even be dealing with some depressing crisis situations that you may be trying to get away from. And also, again, when we're talking about the North Node in transit, this could be about issues that one may have to confront and address. This could be, in some cases, about confronting or addressing a person that might be, it may be somebody that may be prominent in the place where you're generating income, or maybe somebody that is factored in strongly with how you feel about yourself, your self-worth and self-esteem. That might be overly temperamental, clingy, emotional, or vulnerable, and overly dependent. It could be somebody that might have had maybe even some cases of negative impact on your resources and possessions. Now, also, given that this is about, the North Node being in Cancer, and again emphasizing and highlighting your second house, this could be the focus on using a tenacity in generating income. And the future, as far as your home and family, is something that could be very strongly valued at this time for you, Gemini. So anyway, well, the next thing up is, as far as the zodiac sign Cancer goes, the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So for Cancer, well, at this time, your future may very well be directed toward yourself at this time, and nurturing your self-interests, and really tenaciously pursuing those interests. This could be, given that we're talking about what you're trying to get away from, and that's the South Node in Capricorn, which of course will be emphasizing and highlighting your 7th house. This could be about getting away from perhaps depressing, limiting, restricting relationships, partnerships. It could be business partnership situations that may be dragging you down, that might be making you feel overly disconsolate or melancholy, and maybe making you feel alone and desolate. You figure, well, how does that well, how would that work if I'm having relationships? How could that be making you feel alone and desolate? Well, the answer could be at this time, Cancer, it could be that these connections that you're in is where these relationships or connections or what have you, they may not be really always there for you when you actually need them, and might be distancing yourself and might be demonstrating some kind of very cold or callous or undemonstrative nature, and you may feel this need to extricate yourself from them at this time. Hold on a moment, people. I'm sorry about that. I'm back. And it could also be about you may be at this time focusing on Cancerian new beginnings, and it could be doing something such as starting something connected with laundry. It could be a laundry service or business, or restaurant work. We're doing something with cooking, home remodeling, renovation, repair, siding, anything with the home. Could be real estate. It could be doing some organizing, maybe for people in their home. And also, this could be something too, and it might be even in some cases a home business, because you could be incorporating that South Node, that Capricorn energy, that business savvy energy into maybe starting something Cancerian related. So, and also at this time, Cancer, this could be a time where you might be, there might be some issues that might be unresolved, maybe in connection with somebody from your early childhood. It could be in some cases with a Cancer Sun, Moon, Ascendant person, or simply one that embodies Cancerian characteristics, and you may have to confront and deal with issues perhaps with the physical body, and especially if this is actually at the Ascendant, in the actual first house in one's actual natal chart, because of course the Ascendant is connected with the physical body. It could be something connected with the chest, the breast, the stomach area at this time. So anyway, people, well, the next thing up is, as far as the zodiac sign Leo goes, the 12th house is what's going to be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, for Leo, well, you could be at this time perhaps directed toward maybe finding that home, that can be focusing on that home and the future home where you have much privacy, solitude, and seclusion in it. It might be, I mean, I know it might sound a little bit odd for a sign that's so extroverted and gregarious, but it could be that time where you might need that time really to be by yourself in a home where you kind of you have a place where you get away from people, maybe to some degree. It may be also too where you could be maybe drawn at this time towards showing a sympathy and compassion and caring for those that are less fortunate than yourself, such as the impoverished, the oppressed, the homeless, and the hungry, and showing tenacity in dealing with restrictions and limitations. Now, with the South Node in Capricorn emphasizing and highlighting your 6th house, this could be a time where you could be trying to extricate yourself and getting away from perhaps over pessimism and being overly pessimistic and despondency in your daily routine. It could be limiting or depressing employment situation, or maybe getting away in some cases from maybe an overly authoritative and even tyrannical person in your daily routine that might be impacting your work life, and maybe you don't feel like in some cases that you can. It could be a supervisor in some cases. There could be somebody that might be maybe kind of, you feel like they're hovering over you, and they're somehow maybe impacting your work life negatively if you're with this person. Perhaps staying with this person, maybe they're trying to maybe kind of curtail you from working as much and for whatever reason. And this could also be about trying to get away and extricate yourself from just general, again, depressing, really feeling maybe despondent in the daily routine, and maybe tied in to worrying as well. And because the 6th house, it can be seen as the house that is associated with worrying. So just general despondency and worrisome energy you could be trying to get away from at this time. And also too, it could be about being given that, again, going back to the fact where this is about the North Node and in Cancer, emphasizing the 12th house, and for Leo. This could also be about rescuing others with limitations and restrictions, and perhaps nurturing your mental health at this time, and understanding, focusing on perhaps being overly sensitive to criticism and ridicule can be the self-undoing at this time. So those are some things to look at, and really and being and again and trying to get away from consistent worrying at this time, which of course that's the south node in Capricorn, emphasizing the 6th house and highlighting the 6th house. So anyway, well, last but not least, as far as the zodiac sign Virgo goes, the 11th house is what is going to be emphasized and highlighted. So for Virgo at this time, this could be about being directed toward nurturing friendships and acquaintances at this time, tenaciously pursuing one's goals and aspirations, and also too, given that we're talking about the South Node in Capricorn, being emphasizing and highlighting the 5th house for Virgo. This could be about perhaps extricating yourself or getting away from somewhat consistent, even regimented fun, amusement, and enjoyment. It could be something it's very like planned out, premeditated, and you're doing it consistently the same time every day. It doesn't mean that you're not having fun or enjoyment with it, but it's just something, for whatever reason, it might be very regimented, very constant and consistent. And also perhaps extricating yourself from a depressing romantic love life at this time as well. And given we're talking about, again, we're talking about the North Node in transit, this could be about issues one may have to address and confront. And this could be in some cases about confronting perhaps an overly temperamental, moody, fickle, emotional, clingy, overly vulnerable person that may be, which could be, in some cases, could be a stepchild if applicable. It could be somebody you know in a group, club, or organization, and also perhaps being directed toward a Cancerian goal or aspiration. This could be something, it could be cooking, something with laundry, real estate, home renovation improvements, something with water, could be working, doing oceanography, or working as a lifeguard at some point. And also too, even another Cancerian goal or aspiration could be a home caregiver, and also about, and home organizing could be something ideal because you have this Cancerian energy, and of course Virgo just loves to be able to organize things. And also you can incorporate some of the South Node Capricorn energy into the North Node Cancerian energy. It could be incorporating responsibility into caring and nurturing your friendships at this time. So, and also, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my 2018 to 2020 North Node in Cancer transit, part 2. And stay tuned next time, where I'm going to be giving you my take on the 2018 to 2020 North Node in Cancer transit part 3, in which I'm going to talk about the transit's possible impact on the zodiac signs Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. 2 things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person astrologically speaking based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.